On the interstate highway system, the east-west routes that end in 0 are known for traveling great distances across the U.S. Interstate 90 from Boston to Seattle, Interstate 80 from the New York area to San Francisco, Interstate 10 from Jacksonville to Los Angeles, but not Interstate 30. At only 366 miles, running from Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas to Little Rock, Arkansas, it is by far the shortest interstate ending in 0. But why is Interstate 30 so short? And what is it like to drive on this very busy corridor? On this video, we're going to find out. So go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe if you love this type of content, and let's get into Interstate 30. And first, we're going to start with the history of Interstate 30. The origins of Interstate 30 can be traced back to the Dallas-Fort Worth Turnpike. This turnpike was proposed way back in 1944, but was rejected due to its anticipated high cost. In the 1950s, the establishment of the Texas Turnpike Authority allowed for the funding and construction of the turnpike. This turnpike will provide a direct controlled access connection between downtown Dallas and downtown Fort Worth. This 30-mile segment was completed in 1957. The construction of the turnpike was instrumental in the growth of the cities of Arlington and Grand Prairie, and also facilitated the opening of Six Flags Over Texas. After the Federal Highway Act of 1957, Interstate 30 would officially be born. In Texas, much of I-30 will follow the existing US 67 route, with many sections of the old highway being upgraded to interstate standards. It continued following the US 67 corridor into Arkansas, mostly on a new alignment, while directly replacing the old US 67 in some areas. It was largely completed in 1965, but the segment between New Boston and Mount Pleasant proved difficult and was built on a new alignment separate from US 67 and was completed in 1971. In Dallas, the highway originally terminated at US 80 but was later extended to its current routing where it replaced I-20. I-20 was then placed onto a new route to the south, effectively acting as a southern bypass of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. At the eastern end in Little Rock, Arkansas originally planned for the roadway that is now I-57 to be signed as an extension of Interstate 30. However, due to conflicts with Missouri's I-57 plan, that number was chosen for the route instead. Another spur, Interstate 730, was also planned for Arkansas 225 if I-30 had been extended along this corridor. What could have been? Now, what is it like to drive on Interstate 30? We're going to start out in good old Little Rock, Arkansas and find out. In Little Rock, I-30 is the main character, passing next to downtown Little Rock and spawning not one, not two, but 3 auxiliary routes. I-40 between Little Rock and Memphis is semi-truck central, a very busy corridor for moving freight. So coming off I-40, it's welcome for some of that traffic to splinter off onto Interstate 30. At this sign in North Little Rock, you'll see I-30 along with the many U.S. routes that tag along with it. Arkansas is one of the few states to actually bother signing the U.S. route concurrencies with interstates these days. It's a dreaded left exit, but at least you get 2 lanes. I-30 just underwent a massive reconstruction in this area between I-40 and I-630, including a new Arkansas River Bridge. Views of the Little Rock skyline can be seen to the right. Immediately after the bridge is the exit for I-630, which takes you directly west through the heart of Little Rock and towards the more affluent western end of the city. Interstate 30 continues in the southbound direction until this major interchange with I-440 and I-530. Here we see another left exit for I-440, which is signed for Memphis and St. Louis. While I-530 is a long spur route that takes you to the very interesting city of Pine Bluff, which you can see what that town looks like in this video linked in the description where we explored earlier. I-30 itself turns westward and is signed for Texarkana. I-30 in the southern part of Little Rock has frontage roads similar to Texas freeways. And during my time here in Arkansas, I stayed at this Econo Lodge, which was actually one of the nicer Econo Lodges I've been to. And ironically, it was directly across the street from the Arkansas DOT. Maybe I should have stopped by to say hi. Soon, our last spur of I-430 appears, which is signed for Fort Smith. Quick Trip is present in Arkansas, and you can find one right after this interchange before exiting the Little Rock area. Between Little Rock and Texarkana, we'll pass by the cities of Benton, Arkadelphia, and Hope. Benton is a fast-growing suburb of Little Rock, not to be confused with Bentonville, the home of Walmart in northwest Arkansas. While Hope is the birthplace of Arkansas's favorite son, William Bill Clinton. Entering Texarkana, you're going to see Interstate 49. And at Interstate 49, there's signage for Shreveport, Houston, and Fort Smith. Yes, that Houston, signed this far north in Arkansas. How, you ask? Well, it appears that Arkansas is anticipating the completion of I-369, which will eventually run from Texarkana south to the main line I-69 and then to Houston. But for now, it's US 59. Welcome to Texas. At State Line Road, we cross into Texas and you see that famous Texas state silhouette at the underpass, while Arkansas follows suit and places one of their own state on the other side in the opposite direction. Texarkana is literally divided down the middle, so if you want to check out downtown, you can take this exit, or you can watch this video where I already checked it out for you. Continuing through this part of Texarkana, you can find your favorite Anywhere USA big box stores. The usual suspects appear: Walmart, Target, Home Depot, and even a shopping mall. At I-369, the auxiliary route that has been built before its parent, you get another chance to head south to Houston, while we on I-30 continue towards Dallas instead. In Texas, speed limits of 70 and 75 miles per hour can be found along rural interstates, even 80 in some of the more desolate places. First town up is New Boston. New Boston is not named after the Boston in Massachusetts, but rather a storekeeper from the early days of the settlement named W.J. Boston. Frontage roads are kind of in and out between New Boston and Mount Pleasant, and after Mount Pleasant, they become a permanent fixture along the highway. Then there is Sulphur Springs, named for the sulfurous water springs that were abundant when the town was originally founded. After this town, US 67 joins for the rest of the trip, but you'll rarely see Texas bound to sign it. Now, this whole time we've been in Texas, the truck traffic is thick. I-30 is a very heavy truck corridor, and you're going to feel it driving through here. Greenville has your favorite interstate amenities for gas, food, and lodging, along with a quaint little downtown if you decide to get off and check it out. Greenville and Hunt County is considered to be the far eastern edge of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, at least for now. And as of late, the county has been seeing pretty solid growth as that gigantic area continues to consume North Texas. Signage is now for Dallas, and though the traffic can get a little rough out here at times, it's still a 4-lane roadway for now. But I-30 is gradually being expanded further and further east as the Metroplex expands its sprawl. In Royce City, there's a large Buc-ee's gas station where you can stop and grab a Texas brisket or any other Texas-themed goods like this Texas-sized pencil that I picked up there. Texas DOT is in the process of upgrading this section after the Buc-ee's from 6 to 8 lanes. An interesting but little-known town along I-30 out here is Mobile City. This tiny city is the most densely populated city in Texas at over 10,000 people per square mile. Apparently it was just a mobile home park, but later incorporated as a city in order to build a wine, liquor, and beer store. How about that? After passing the affluent suburban paradise of Rockwell, the roadway finally opens up with 6 lanes as we make our way across Lake Ray Hubbard. This area of I-30 can be a slog if you come through at the wrong time, as it tends to bottleneck out here. Out here, I-30 is undergoing major reconstruction as Texas modernizes it to handle the influx of residents to the DFW. Soon after, you'll see signage for the President George Bush Turnpike. This one is tolled and forms a northern outer beltway around Dallas. It's the one you'll want to use if you want to get to the northern Dallas suburbs and avoid the effery of I-635. This is your first taste of those tall Texas ramps that are used at their interchanges. Here we are officially in Dallas County and the city of Garland. Garland is known for its large population and not much else. I-30 is 8 lanes out here, and as you approach I-635, you'll see more construction as the project to modernize that interstate is still going on. It forms a beltway around Dallas along with I-20 to the south and can be used to reach northern Dallas suburbs if you decide not to pay for the George Bush Turnpike. This is also your last chance to bypass Dallas and Fort Worth by using I-635 to get down to I-20. After I-635, Interstate 30 drops to 6 lanes as we approach the heart of Dallas. But never fret, as we collect US 80, we get it back. This is where the highway previously ended. The Dallas skyline is finally in view over the horizon. And you can gauge how close you are to downtown not only by the buildings, but by the congestion. The network of freeways surrounding Dallas is usually the most congested part of the city, and you can experience it at any given time during the day. We have back-to-back interchanges with major interstate highways. First, I-45 and US 75 signed for Houston and McKinney, then I-35 East for Waco and Denton. In this mixing bowl of freeways, you can expect lots of lane switching and slow traffic as people scramble to find the right lane for their exit. The structures of downtown Dallas will be visible to your right. And this interchange with I-35E was recently rebuilt and is quite the beautiful structure with the arches of the Margaret McDermott Bridge in view. This not only is some fine Texas engineering, but some of the best highway engineering you'll find anywhere. Quite spectacular. After the Trinity River, we're at 8 lanes plus express lanes. The express lanes here allow 75 miles per hour, some of the highest urban speed limits you'll find anywhere in the country. This area of I-30 is known as the Tom Landry Freeway. At the interchange for Beltline Road, which is a surface road beltway around Dallas, you can see the remnants of the old toll road with how the interchange was designed. As we re-encounter the George Bush Turnpike, we pass under a signature Texas stack, then we enter Tarrant County as we start entering the in-between suburbs of the DFW. And then after passing yet another large stack with Texas 360, which you can use to reach the DFW airport, we are in Arlington. In terms of transportation, Arlington is famous for being the largest city in America with no public transportation, not even a bus system, with a population of over 400,000 people. It is also famous for being the home to much of Dallas-Fort Worth's entertainment options. Out here you can find Six Flags Over Texas, the Texas Rangers, and those Dallas Cowboys. Unless there's an event going on, traffic on I-30 tends to be far more reasonable in Tarrant County than in Dallas. After Lamar Boulevard, we go from 8 to 6 lanes, surprisingly even into Fort Worth. The first major interchange in Fort Worth is with I-820, which forms a beltway around the city with its parent I-20. After this interchange, you see a bit of the Fort Worth skyline in the distance, not on the level of Dallas, but it's a cute little downtown area. Things go back to 8 lanes as we get closer, and soon we encounter the other I-35, I-35W, signed for Denton and Waco as well. And then there's Lancaster Avenue, which will get you to downtown Fort Worth. And after passing under a few flyovers, we pass south of downtown with 8 lanes. Camp Bowie Boulevard marks the end of the 8-lane section of I-30 in Fort Worth. As we re-engage with I-820, you'll see Weatherford and Abilene listed as our next control cities. And after passing under this stack, we are reaching the outskirts of Fort Worth and the final miles of Interstate 30. For a brief stretch, before the end of this mighty interstate, we drop back to a peaceful 2 lanes. And passing by the last exit for Walsh Parkway, we enter Parker County, and the speed limit is up to 70 miles per hour. I-20 traffic actually merges in from the right, as I-30 traffic travels on the main roadway. However, it ends here, and you see I-20 take over the control cities that we saw earlier for I-30. No end sign is posted by Texas, but that is it for America's shortest major east-west interstate. And should you continue west on I-20, that one also ends in Texas at I-10, which takes you way out to El Paso. All right, guys, that's Interstate 30 in a nutshell. So back to the original question posed by the video. Why is it so short? Well, if you look at the numbering scheme of the interstate highway system from south to north, the east to west routes, and considering the fact that the majority of the U.S. population is in the eastern 1/3 of the country, once you get past the Mississippi River, we don't need as many long-distance east-west routes. Hence the reason why Interstate 30 and Interstate 20 both merge into I-10 before going to California. Even Interstate 40 doesn't quite make it to the coast. And that's the short and simple answer for this short interstate. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Have you ever been on Interstate 30? Do you think it should be extended past Dallas-Fort Worth? Or should it be extended in the other direction past Little Rock, Arkansas? Or is it fine just as it is? Or let me know what it's like to drive on Interstate 30 from your experience, especially if you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.